Shanti, Shanti, Om. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om. Peace inside my mind, God and only God is moving me. Peace inside my mind, God and only God I live to see. Peace inside my mind, God and only God is moving me. Peace inside my mind, God and only God I live to see. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om. 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 Peace inside my heart, God and only God is moving me. Peace inside my heart, God and only God I live to see. Peace inside my heart, God and only God is moving me. Peace inside my heart, God and only God I live to see. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om. 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 Peace inside the earth, God and only God is moving me. Peace inside the earth, God and only God I live to see. Peace inside the earth, God and only God is moving me. Peace inside the earth, God and only God I live to see. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om. 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 So the last time I was here, I talked about hope and faith and love. I spent quite a bit of time on hope because hope actually is, we all hope for good stuff. We hope for good things for ourselves. You hope for good things for your family. You hope for good things for your friends. Don't we all hope for good things for our world? Wouldn't we hope that our world would have this experience of once again harmony? Now, a long time ago, so long ago, because I was in Salt Lake City. It's a while ago. I read one of those surveys that people like to do, like random surveys. If you could ask God anything, what would you ask God? That was the question. I thought that was very interesting. The two answers that came up more than any other answer to that question, what would you ask God if you could ask God anything? The first was, will there ever be world peace? Like God created no world peace? Will there ever be world peace? Let's ask God. The other one would be, will I ever be happy? Wow. Will I ever be happy? As though human beings didn't have some sort of, I don't know, contribution to those questions. Anyway, I just found that interesting. So we all hope for these things. We hope to be happy. We hope for world peace. We hope for a better world for our children to grow up in. We hope. That's good.
And putting our faith in our hope is good. But now we need to harness power. And the power that can really let us have the things we hope for after we have put our faith into them, we energize those things with love. Love is a power. Today's talk is Love Wins, and I did not make that up myself. I actually borrowed that from a book titled by a gentleman named Rob Bell. Who's heard of Rob Bell? Yeah, what? Two of you. Rob Bell was an influential and successful pastor in America. At one time, he was named by Time magazine as 100 of the most influential people in America. Until he wrote a book called Love Wins, where he reevaluated the interpretation of the Bible that went against his evangelical background and said, if God is love, perhaps hell is more a place of reconciliation and not a place of eternal damnation. He lost his congregation in droves. People would rather believe that God would punish people eternally than believe that God was love that could overcome anything. Whoa. He also went on to say, I affirm the truth anywhere in any religious system and in any worldview. If it's true, it belongs to God. Whoa. Well, more people left. I shouldn't say it that way, but it's true. Now, I'd add to that worldview that if it's true, it will make us freer. The truth shall set you free. And when we're not feeling free, we are somehow lying to ourselves, either individually or collectively. I believe teachings of love are the truest because love frees us from the chains that hold us back. I mean, if you think about it, hell is damnation, and damnation just means to stop flow. We stop flow when we're not loving. Love lets things flow through us. The energy of the universe, the energy of others, the energy of our own hopes and faith. Love frees us up to engage in a future that we want to create together. Now, I'm going to bring in a lot of people here today because why not? And then I'll get to the meat of how we get to be more loving. He used a method that's advocated by the social justice advocate and activist Loretta Ross. Who's heard of Loretta Ross? Oh my, she was good. For those of you that are members, look at her TED Talk. It's on the Facebook member page. Amazing. She said, if we really want to change the world, we can't call people out. How many of you have ever wanted to just call them out? I just want to call you out. She said, yeah, that's not going to work because you can't condemn or shame and change anybody. What you have to do is call people in. And you invite people to look at things differently. Invite them to look at things differently. That creates discussion. Calling people out creates more separation and perpetuates right and wrong thinking. See, it's okay to be right and wrong thinking if we're the right one. Spirit doesn't recognize right or wrong. That's why people fell from the grace of God in the parable. I mean, I think that there were some spiritually so awake people, and it might have been Moses, but I doubt it. But somebody was so awake that they were trying to explain why people couldn't see things the way God saw things. And honestly, if you've ever had a spiritual awakening, it's all perfect. Now, for me, it hasn't lasted very long, but it's been real enough to know that it's real. So someone had that, wow, now why aren't we staying there? Why? Because people believe in right and wrong, and you can't see as God sees if you're believing in right and wrong. Thus, they said, I know, I'll create a parable. People were in Eden. They walked and talked with God. Everything was good. And then they ate this. I'm not going to say apple because that's really bad for the Washington State Produce Association. But they ate something, the fruit of the tree of good and evil. So they took in this idea that something has to be good and something has to be evil. And then they started separating things out. That's good, that's bad. And whoever was the one doing the dividing up, that was true for them. My big aha, because, and I need my phone because I'm going to give you quotes from someone else. My big aha while I was studying this today, or for today, was that love is a drawing power. Love draws. Love never pushes or shoves. Metaphorically, it was stated by Jesus that, I stand at the door and knock. The great I am within us continues to knock until we open up to the divine. It's not, blasting in the door like you sometimes see SWAT teams on TV. It's gentle. Love is gentle, and yet it's persuasive. In the Tao Te Ching, it's like water. It seems soft, but it's irresistible, and it will eventually change the landscape of our consciousness. I am very influenced today by the work of Pierre. Mom really loved him and wanted to give him a lot of names. Pierre Teilhard de Chardin. When he said that love, and I'm paraphrasing, love is the draw of God bringing all creation to itself. I was looking for that particular quote. He is also the first one to be acknowledged to say something that we say a lot. I had no idea it came from him. He's, I think, the first one who said, we are spiritual beings having a human experience instead of human beings having a spiritual experience. Whoa. Now, what's interesting about this is that he was a Jesuit priest, a paleontologist. He thought all sorts of wild and wonderful things, and he was ordered by the Vatican to never publish them. So, being a good priest, he didn't. But he made sure they were laying around with people that would publish him after he died. So, once he was gone, he said some amazing things. Let me begin. Someday, come on, Kathianne. Okay, I got to get this bigger. Someday, after mastering the winds, the waves, and the tides, isn't it great that he saw us mastering the winds and the waves and the tides? Long before we really started doing the kind of wonderful, clean energy that we're doing. And gravity. We shall harness for God the energies of love. And then, for the second time in the history of the world, man will have discovered fire. When we start to harness the power of love, we will have done something so great that our ancestors will be amazed. So, how do we do that? I've taken some of his information and I've also just wanted to discover this for myself. How can we harness the energies of love, that power of love? And having looked at and listened to Rob Bell and having looked at and listened to, once again, Loretta Ross, and really looking at myself and also looking at how I've watched other people evolve. Oh, by the way, he said, if you want to explain evolution, explain the discovery of love. Love is what lets us evolve as people. And I say that that's a really wonderful thing because we are more loving. We are, like love is breaking out. And it's the loving people who are awake that go, look at that. But guess what? 200 years ago, nobody was saying that. 200 years ago, nobody was calling out or calling in the injustices that we're now so appalled by. Love is evolving us. Kicking and screaming sometimes. But, so how do we move this? First of all, we need to ask ourselves, what is our motivation? What's our motivation? And I have to ask that. I mean, when we're moving through life and we want to interact with others and we want to make a difference in the world, or we just want more peace in our home, or we just want to celebrate our friends and help them have a great life, or we just want a great life for ourselves, we have to ask ourselves, what's my motivation? Is my motivation to love and see connection, or is my motivation to prove I'm right? Now, I say that because love has evolved me. There has been a time when I was trying to help my mother through some stuff. How many of you went through the, none of you probably did, the phase of, Mama, I now know more than you do, and let me share my wisdom with you. The giggles, I think, mean that someone at least went through that besides myself. And yet, when I look at it, I really wanted to prove my superiority and how I had grown and become smarter than my mother. I knew more. She was still stuck in her ways. I mean, I hate to even think about it, but I did that. Like, yes, I wanted her to have more freedom and to have more health and to have a greater sense of satisfaction and fulfillment. Yes, I did, but I really wanted to show her that I knew how to do it, and she probably didn't. My motivation was not to connect and love. My motivation was to show how smart I was. If we want to harness love, we really have to really look inside our motivation and say, is it love? And we have to want love. Or at least we have to want to love. Now, sometimes there's a part of the ego that still wants to be right, but do we want to be loving? Do we want to know holy essence of God within us, or do we want to be right? If our motivation is to really know the holy essence of God within us, then since God is love, we're going to have to choose love and love and love and love and love. And that means we can't make people wrong even in our mind. We get to choose to love them and just know, guess what? They're on a path, and if they continue to hang around me, love will get all over them and draw them in. Love will draw them in. What's interesting about Rob Bell is that, yes, he lost his church, and he lost his association with other Christian ministers, and guess what? He got on Oprah. He went from this group to this group. Love has a drawing power. Love has a drawing power. And it's so easy to make people wrong who want to make you wrong. How many of you know someone that would love to make you wrong? Just one person. Guess what? They are your teacher. Bless them, bless them, bless them. Because you get to prove that you can love even when you're being made wrong. I remember 2 times that this church was made wrong. One was, I got so excited. I found out on a Sunday. I remember we were back in the old sanctuary. And I found out on a Sunday that the Gay Pride Committee had named Center for Spiritual Living Seattle as one of the grand marshals for the Gay Pride Parade. I found out on a Sunday. I was so excited. It might even have been a choir Sunday because it was so exciting. It's like, yay, and I shared it. And somebody said, why would you think that was a good thing? Because thousands of people think that we're contributing to the world. I don't know. But I couldn't it's like, they're not wrong. Obviously, I need to teach love more. I need to teach love more. The other time was when the first time we had Jamal speak, who's a Muslim. And a guy stomped out and said, I will not be in a place where you allow a Muslim to speak. I thought, wow. Okay. But that person, I can't make that person wrong. They too are evolving, and love will draw them in. Love will draw them in. We have to be a place that draws in, not puts a line in the sand, but draws in. And they're missing a lot of great music. See, human beings have much more in common than we have differences, no matter what the color of the skin is, or our orientations, or how we even view ourselves, how people name us or put categories on people. We have so much more in common, and one of the things that we all have in common is, we all want a better life for ourselves and our family and our friends, and we all make mistakes. And when we start to look at our commonality, guess what? Love wins. Love wins. Pray often. If you choose that you really want love to take over, if that's going to be your motivation, then pray often that God loves me, that I may love others. See, in the Bible it says that we can love because we were first loved. People who can't love, they're not letting love in. They're not letting love in. Those people who hung out with Rob Bell, they were not letting the love of God in, because otherwise they wouldn't have been able to say people should go to hell and be punished for eternity. What? Why would love want anybody to be punished for eternity? Now, there's cause and effect, but I doubt that anything that anybody could do would warrant eternal damnation, for goodness sakes. See, when we let love in, love starts to change us and shift us. Father, Mother, God within, let me be loved. This is the story of the prodigal son, only not the prodigal son, because he allowed himself to be loved eventually. It was the second son. How many of you know there was a second son? Yeah, the second son. The second son said, I'm going to work and didn't take anything. But then he got really upset that the younger son got a party. Why did he get a party? Listen, does this look like love is affecting that young man at all? Like when we begrudge somebody else, we're not coming from love. We're coming from emptiness. Emptiness. Let love love you. Let love love you. Then love the unlovable. Now, see, this is all just how can we harness God's power, the power of love? What's your motivation? Choose love, be loved, and then love the unlovable, which can just be aspects of yourself or your own body image or all those things that you've been told have been wrong. Love it, love it, love it. I had an opportunity to talk to a gentleman not yesterday, it was last week, who is having cancer, and we just talked to the cancer, and he noticed that because everything is an image first before it becomes a thing, and the more he talked to it, the more he paid attention to it, the smaller and less powerful it grew. It just shifted because he was paying attention to it. He was not condemning it. He was not resisting it. He was not wishing it would just go away. He was listening to it and getting its message. And in his own mind, it started to shrink. Well, all things happen in mind first. Love the unlovable. Whatever it is about you. I'm going to love being short. Why not? Love that which you separate yourself from. Love that which you separate yourself from. Who do you separate yourself from? I think in our country we have a great opportunity, every election year to love that which we separate ourselves from, because, boy, is there a bunch of separation in the political systems. Wow. I mean, I'm old enough to remember where people had a political party, but they weren't so diametrically opposed to the other one. Like, just love. Love pays attention. Love listens. Love wants good for them. So love those who don't believe as you do. Love those who don't think as you do. Love those who don't understand why you do things the way you do. Love them. Love them. I mean, I've said it before, but I'm trying to get this through into my own consciousness. Jesus said, and I said, so you love people that love you. So you love people, your family and friends. He did not say big whoop, but he meant big whoop. Love those who are not in alignment with you. That's an enemy. They're out of sync with you. Just love them, love them, love them, love them. Why? Because love is a power, but we're not going to know it's a power unless we allow ourselves to become a place for that power to show up. And then when you've allowed love to enter into your consciousness and vibrate there, then speak up when called upon. Get into politics. Lovingly give your opinion when you see other people treating other people badly. Then you can call them in. See, we can't call people in if there's no love to call them into. If we're loving, you'll find that you can say anything and it will be listened to, because love wins. Love wins. I want to share the last quote by Teilhard. Love alone is capable of uniting living beings in such a way as to complete and fulfill them. For it alone takes them and joins them by what is deepest in themselves. What is deepest in ourselves and everyone is our consciousness of our connection with the divine. In deep and within everybody, me, you, and everyone, is a consciousness of our connection. Now it's covered up by a whole bunch of stuff. Life happens. We attract ideas and things that scare us. But we are aware of our connection, and love is what brings it out. So let's pray. So ask yourself, are you willing to be motivated by love? Are you willing to choose love? Are you willing to love, and to love, and to love, and to love again? Are you willing to be loved and blessed and filled by the divine? Are you willing to have a good life? Are you willing to be so full of God's love, of God's essence, that it seeps out from you? If so, within your heart of hearts, say yes. And now allow the presence of God, the inner teacher, to reveal to you something that you thought is unlovable. It might be about yourself. It might be about a family member. It might be about a social situation. And let God love it through you. Let God love through you. Love the unlovable. Now, love those things that you've separated yourself from. That's not like me. They're not like me. It's not like me. Let's let that all go. Just drop the sense of separation for a moment and love that which you've separated yourself from. Take a deep breath. And let love reveal to you the ways you will speak, the ways you will act in the future. Let love lead the way. Let love do its healing work in you, as you, and through you. What a way to live. And so I give thanks that there have been people who have gone before us. I'm so grateful for Teilhard de Chardin. I'm so grateful that he could perceive the essence of the universe gradually unfolding and evolving back into that which it came from, which is God and in love. I'm so grateful that he could perceive that love is drawing us into a reality that allows us to see that we've never been separate from our God and from our essence. I'm so grateful that he could have that sight. And I'm so grateful that I can follow that sight. And I'm so grateful that I can prove to myself that there is a power in the universe so much greater than I am. And that power is the essence of love. And I'm so grateful that this center is a place of love. I'm so grateful that everyone that enters in here can feel that love and be blessed by that love, and that we are instruments of that love. I'm so grateful that there's no one outside the love of God. I'm so grateful that we take a stand for that, and that we live that, and we speak that, and we travel through our life as that. And oh, what a grand and wonderful thing that is. And I will just end. I love this phrase. I love this phrase by, I forgot her name. Yes, Loretta Ross. She said, eventually you'll understand that love in the place of hate is just fun. Let's do this for the joy of it, and so it is.